Good morning everyone, welcome to our latest game. Another small size, almost skirmish level game, just seeing how the general Dame rules work for small combats. This is a continuation of our 1813 campaign in Germany, where the German forces are liberating a series of cities, and they've actually put one city in Germany under siege, and the French forces are advancing with Napoleon to try and relieve their various different garrisons that fell back from the campaign in Russia. So what we've got today is an assault here by a French brigade, 5 battalions, and we might play it as a battalion, a brigade of 2 and a brigade of 3. We'll see, that's a bit small, but we do have an artillery battery with the French as well. Here they are, just moving onto the table. And that's our second French brigade. I think we'll use 2 brigades. 2 brigades, 1 of 2 with artillery battery and 1 of 3. And they're facing off against the siege lines. So what we have here are some of the outer elements of the siege works that the Prussians are holding. We have some Prussian fusiliers here. These are camp figures. The French are all parrying. And some more camp figures here occupying some siege works. The objectives for the French is to capture this powder store on the hill next to this Prussian battery to disrupt the siege. Supporting Charlie's regular troops, we also have a brigade of Landwehr deployed in the field behind these woods. And Charlie is commanding today. Morning, Charlie.
Morning. I feel really good I'm going to win this one. But one thing I think was very stupid from the Prussians, the French could just get artillery battle here and fire on the boxes right there and win instantly.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately for Charlie, the ammunition store is artillery fireproof. So very thick layers of earth and wooden, very solid wooden construction protecting your artillery bunker there. So you should be all right for that, Charlie.
Some modern day building somehow got onto there. Someone came from like a time machine and quickly just built it very well.
Cheers, Charlie. All right, yeah, let's try and cope with the time machine, and we'll move on and roll for ADCs in turn 1. Charlie's got 2 brigades and the artillery battery attached to your regulars, Charlie, rather than the Landwehr.
I'm having the regular because the Landwehr will probably break quicker,
yeah.
So then the artillery will go quicker.
Yeah.
Because
will go survive longer, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and the Prussian infantry here are in a very good position. They've got a lot of cover, and they can fire. Also, I chose them up here too, because they'll be better here, and the French will be more damaged from the Landwehr,
yeah.
And then I can fire them down. Also, if the Landwehr has to fall back here, I can also fire with the Landwehr, because they'll be on a hill.
With the regulars over the Landwehr. Yeah, that is true. All right, so the Germans look out across the forest, and they can hear the French drums playing, and the pas de charge being cried as the French start moving forward to take the Prussian positions. All right, we'll crack on with turn 1. All right, rolling for ADCs. I get 1. Charlie?
We got the exact same roll.
We both got a 2 and a 4, so we both got 1 ADC. Let's roll for activation. I'm going to put my re-roll on my artillery battery to make sure that I can get to deploy that. All right, rolling for activation. My artillery brigade is active and my other brigade is active, so both are active.
And I got a 5, exactly 2 on my artillery. So our dice have been copying each other quite well. Now for my Landwehr, I've gotten a 2. They're hesitant, but it doesn't really matter because I'm not going to really move them at all and they're not going to fire.
All right, let's roll for initiative. So the French are at normal and the Prussians are at -1. The French have got 7. Prussians got 4. French got initiative.
It doesn't really matter at this time.
All right, we'll crack on and we'll do French movement. All right, so the French skirmish screen has moved forward. Battalions are advancing. They've moved at their maximum speed. Prussian line hasn't moved. Charlie, you're going to do some artillery fire with your battery at long range.
So I'm going to fire probably at this column, because if I take out these ones quickly, they might actually try and go around my flank and hit me in the flank of my infantry. So quite a big threat.
All
so
right.
I'm going to fire at the closest one, which is most likely this one.
Okay, give it a go. And
8, that's just a casualty.
That'll be 1 casualty at long range. We'll mark that up, and then we'll move on with ADCs for turn 2. Alright, for turn 2, we've rolled for activation. Charlie, your Lambert went hesitant again, is that right?
Yep.
And your regulars are active, which is fortunate for them because your artillery can fire at long range when it's not hesitant, so that's good. And we've rolled for initiative, and Charlie, you got a double 6, didn't you?
Yes.
And the French got a 9. So the Prussians got initiative, so we'll start with movement. Anything going to move on the Prussian side today, Charlie?
Probably not.
Okay, we'll do French movement, and then your artillery can open fire. Okay, so opening fire with your artillery battery at long range against the same target. You've possibly got bounce through as well against the artillery in limbered formation. Charlie, let's roll for our artillery shots. You get a 5. That'll be nothing at long range, and bounce through. 1 casualty against the cavalry. All right, and then we'll get on with some skirmisher firing. Right, rolling for ADCs in turn 3. French have got 2 ADCs,
So
and Charlie also has 2.
I just put artillery assault on them.
Okay, that'll be a risk because you won't have a reroll. You're going to roll for the regulars?
I'm going to roll for the Lambert first.
And they're active?
I shouldn't have done it from then because I would have been active. I was scared. They're active.
Okay,
though.
so you've got artillery assault off. Well done. We are going to put forwards orders on our left-hand brigade.
But that's going to be a risk
Again,
too.
a risk to me because I don't have a reroll. What did I get?
Active.
They're active, okay.
6.
And then on the other one is active. All right, so we're both active. Let's roll for initiative. Hopefully the French can get it for the first time. French get a double 6.
Just like me.
Just like you last turn. Okay,
If I
yeah.
got a double 6 again, that would be so funny.
All right, time for a movement. French go first. Okay, so the French have moved to the left of this set of woods to try and put some pressure on Charlie's flank. There's a supporting battalion in the woods, and on their other flank, their brigade continues to move forward. Charlie has pulled his Landwehr back a bit to try and get within range of supporting fire from his battalions on the ridgeline. We'll move on with some firing. We'll do perhaps a quick volley from my column here into those Landwehr, see if we can have any effect.
Yeah, I could do the
As we
same
don't have the
thing.
skirmish screen. And Charlie, I'm sure we'll do a volley back.
Because it won't change anything because Lambert already do half effect no matter
Not
what.
half effect, inferior volleys.
Yeah, inferior volley. So.
Yeah, you're right. So even though they've moved, it'll still only be an inferior volley for the Landwehr. Okay, we'll do some French firing. Okay, so opening fire with this French column first. This will be at half effect. We get a 9. That's not too bad. It's an inferior volley because the battalion moved. So a 9 will be 2 casualties and a discipline test. That's halved, so it's 1 casualty and a discipline test on the Landwehr.
That's fine.
Okay, that's good. And then we'll do our skirmisher firing. So we'll fire our first skirmisher screen, which will get 2 dice. That gets 1 casualty on the Prussian skirmisher screen on the left, and then on the right, no casualties. Alright, Charlie, some counterfire from the Prussians.
Yeah. So I'm going to fire these skirmishers at them.
Okay, 2 dice. No, and then 1 from the other one. Okay. Oh, you fired 2, so you would have had to be firing at the column, but that was alright, you could have done that. Alright, okay, then you've got a Landwehr battalion. You can fire at my attacking column. So that will be an inferior volley. My gosh, that's good. That's a 10, so that's 3 casualties against me and a discipline test.
So that'll be 2.
Why would it be 2?
Because you're half it, because...
No, because... no, you just count as inferior if you've moved. You're not in column. And actually,
No,
if
'cause
you're
I'm
firing
Landwehr.
at a column at...
Oh,
no, it's
yeah.
not at 3 inches.
I'm Landwehr, so I half it,
No, you don't.
no matter what. No, I mean, I'm
It's always inferior. Yeah, so
Yeah,
you do
so-
inferior, and you roll a 10. So it's 3 casualties and a discipline test.
Oh, I thought we'd normally get 6 then.
No, you don't halve it. You only halve it if you're in column or in square.
Okay.
Alright, so I've got my discipline test. What have I rolled? An 8. I'm fine. So I stay in discipline, but I've got to mark up
Shall I
those
put-
casualties.
It should put like a...
Do you want to fire your artillery? That's the other thing to do.
Can I try and see if they're... No, they're not in range.
No, they won't be in
They
range.
could
'cause
be.
I'll check.
Okay, now.
Firing, no, it'll still be at long range. It's still more than 24 inches. So long range at the same target.
Yep.
4.
That's just nothing,
That's
isn't it?
nothing. I don't think it's a fatigue casualty. No, that needs to be 3 or less. So you're fine. That's the end of turn 3. On we go with turn 4. Okay, so Charlie went aggressive and put artillery assault again on his battery, but unfortunately he's gone hesitant, so they can't fire if I'm at long range. So he's going to have to see if he can spot a target at effective range, which might happen because we have got movement to happen first. I'm going to go for an infantry assault order on this left-hand brigade. So I need 2 ADCs for that. And I go hesitant, and I don't have a reroll, so that's not great for me. And then for my other brigade is active. All right, now let's roll for initiative. We're both at -1, Charlie. I get 6. You get 7. Allies are active. You get to move first. All right, Charlie's gone aggressive, and he's decided to charge in with his Landwehr. So they have charged my infantry column here. I do get a defensive volley. This will be at half effect because I'm in column. That's a 5 I've rolled. A standard volley is 1 casualty, halved is none, so that's no effect. Let's roll
Also, if
for the charge results.
If it was called, you know, when they carry on firing as a smoke.
Oh, fire discipline. There is fire discipline.
Then wouldn't there be a?
If I've lost fire discipline, it's helpful for you when you charge, because I think I fire as an inferior volley if I've suffered fire discipline, or possibly don't.
So it doesn't really matter anymore.
So it doesn't matter because I didn't have fire discipline on me before you did the charge. So let's roll the charge results. Neither of us have got support. The French are too far away, and Charlie didn't have infantry assault, so he couldn't give a support to himself. So this will be a straight roll. Let's see how we do. Oh, not so good. French get a 5.
So I get +1 for my general.
Yeah.
And also, you can't touch my general because just before I said, you have now, should we say we have to declare the...
I haven't put my general in.
Yes.
Alright, so you get +1 for general, so that takes you up to regular, but I am regulars anyway. So that makes no difference to the raw dice roll. So you're on a 9 and I'm on a 5. So you have 1 by 4. So you take the ground and I retreat with 1d3 casualties. So I suffer 1 casualty and will fall back. So that was a good result for Charlie and the Prussians, so he's pushed back this wing of the French assault. Alright, we'll crack on with normal movement. Charlie, you had initiative, didn't you? So any normal movement, please, we'll do that, and I'll do normal movement on the rest of the French. Alright, we've done movement, so Charlie's keeping up the pressure, so he's moved his Landwehr brigade forward. 2nd Battalion's also moved up onto the edge of the woods. The left-hand battalion stays where it was. The French were hesitant, but they have deployed their artillery. It will be able to open fire on troops on the hill, but it's masked from the French troops on the ground. Alright, Charlie has initiative, so it'll be shooting first for Charlie. So Charlie's opening fire with his Landwehr, an inferior volley against the French troops on the edge of the wood. Here we go.
10.
10, another good dice roll for an inferior volley. That's 3 casualties and a discipline test. Do the discipline test. Wow, they get a 3. That's not good. They have to retreat, I think, on a 3. On a discipline test, 3 or less, retreat and lose a further 1d3 casualties. They take an extra 1 casualty, so that'll be 4 on that unit and another retreat. Okay, so that brigade drove another French battalion back, so they've both now on retreat orders. Great roll, or a very bad discipline test roll for the French. So this brigade is hesitant now, or faltering rather. Okay, let's do the firing from the skirmishers, Charlie. I'll fire my French skirmishers screen on the right first.
I can fire them at them.
Well, you have to fire at my skirmishers, which are in the way, Charlie.
Yeah, so I was gonna...
But the skirmishers aren't far enough away from my infantry unit, so we'll go through the infantry unit, but the first casualty will be on the skirmishers. Okay. So you'll be firing, but you'll be firing at -2, and it'll be an inferior volley.
If I get a double 6 or 11 or 10 on this, all of the Landwehr up here should turn into old guard units.
Yes, Charlie. Unfortunately you didn't. 5, -2 is 3, so they lose fire discipline. That's the only effect. Alright, I will fire. Wait. You've got your skirmish screen to fire, Charlie?
If I discipline... Oh, doesn't it half the...
You've got fire discipline, Charlie.
So wouldn't that half the... If they fire next time you charge it, wouldn't that half it?
No, they fire, I think, at inferior... as an inferior volley, which
so that does not change anything at all.
No, it doesn't. Come on, roll your skirmishers.
They can't fire stealth out there.
1 casualty to mark up on my skirmishers.
Finally.
I'll fire back with my skirmishers. No casualties from the bigger screen, and a casualty from the smaller screen. All right. So a casualty on you as well, Charlie. Okay, so the French artillery is going to open fire. It's going to have a go at Charlie's musketeers on the hill behind the fortifications. So there'll be a -1 adjustment because Charlie is in cover. What do I roll there, Charlie? I've got lost in the woods.
Is that cocked?
No, I think it's fine.
Okay, you've got 10
I've got
then.
a 10, -1 is a 9 at long range.
Firing artillery, firing out of artillery.
I'm
It's
not
-2.
firing at artillery, I'm firing at your
okay.
troops. So that's 1 casualty and a discipline test on the musketeers on the hill.
Okay.
Oh, they get
They
suffer a 3.
retreat. It's
They
the exact
do
same
retreat,
so.
and they might retreat off the table. Let's have a look. All right, on we go with turn 5. Charlie indeed failed his discipline test, so his units retreated back behind its artillery battery. We didn't put it right on the edge of the table because, as Charlie says, it's just too easy to knock them off. So they are a little bit further back than they appear there, but we'll remember that when they have to move back forwards to try and get back into line. Okay, let's roll for ACCs, Charlie. 2 6s again. Why am I only getting double 6s on my ADC rolls? So I've got 1 and you've got
I'm going
1.
to put on my lamb there because they're being gods right now and I want them to carry on.
Right, I have to put a re-roll on this brigade
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's faltering. So we'll do my falter test first. We roll a 4 on a regular brigade, which is a rally. So they
Do they carry on
recover.
faltering because it's a tyre and falter?
No, on rally they're all right. So retreating, the brigade successfully rallies retreating units, routed units disperse.
That's all in the
Remove
units
the
except-
falter marker, it goes hesitant. If it's within 9 inches, it has to fall back. I think I'm probably just over 9 inches away. All right, I'm going to roll my activation on my other brigade. It is active. So my right-hand
Dad?
brigade is active. Charlie, your
I should have
activations.
rerolled that. The 2 battalions up there are gone and that
No,
one's
they're
going to fall
not.
back.
They're on retreat. They're
Yeah,
fine.
I said retreating units dispersed.
Routed units disperse. They're retreating.
Okay, so
I'm fine.
then active. Hesitant.
How many ADCs did you get?
I think I got 1.
Right, and what do you do with it?
I really don't remember.
Do you want to roll your ADCs again and then you can re-roll activation because I can't remember what you got.
I got
No ADCs. Okay, roll again then for activation. So
Then?
for landwear,
active. Those ones are active.
Yeah, okay.
Landwear. Not
active. Okay, so you're active. I'm on -1. Let's roll for initiative. I get a 7, so I go down to a 6.
I'm using your blue dice. I think it's red.
Mhm.
Let's move on my reds. So I don't know. Okay, so initiative. 3.
3, all right. The French have initiative. All right, so the Prussians are continuing to be really aggressive. The Landwehr are advancing towards the disordered French brigade that's fallen back from the woods. The regulars are also now moving forward off the hill to put pressure on the French lines and also to get themselves out of sight from the French artillery battery that's now deployed. The Landwehr are ready to face off against the attacking French columns on the right, and Charles has reformed his retreated brigade on the hill. So we'll move on with firing for this turn.
No, Dad. Artillery's closer. Bigger threat. They're closer. They're bigger threat that's still on the hill.
Yeah, all right, okay, we'll
So
fire
you
at that
can't
one
fire
that's
at them.
closer that's on the hill.
I'm doing what you say, Dad.
4, no effect, so nothing from my
If
artillery.
you do my strategy, I can do Dad's strategy of
So
artillery.
are you active on the hill?
Yeah, I am active on the
Okay,
hill.
so you can fire your artillery this turn and your skirmishers.
I'm going to
Charlie.
fire at them.
Okay. No,
Fire, that's
been
nothing.
no
Also,
effect.
but they're in column.
All right, yeah, but you're not at close range.
Oh yeah, then.
That was from your artillery, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then your skirmish screen can get.
Yeah, they can fire at them because most of them.
All right, yeah, okay.
Two,
Two
no, 3
dice.
dice. 3 dice.
No, because one's got to go to the skirmishers.
Okay.
Okay, one more casualty on there. All right, that's it for turn 5. On we go with turn 6. Okay, so Charlie's gone for a quick computer break, so it's just down to me, I'm afraid. So we'll see how the game progresses. We'll roll for ADCs for both sides. All right, the French get 1 ADC, as do the Allies. Just have a think about how to deploy those. Okay, so I just went for straight re-rolls because I wanted the French attack to go in, and Charlie wants to keep his Prussians applying pressure and redeploying. All brigades have gone active, so let's roll for initiative. All right, the Allies have initiative at the start of turn 6. So in the spirit of Charlie, the Prussians continue to be bold And this Landwehr battalion has charged again against the French here, who are still unformed, so they have an advantage on that particular assault. In the centre, another Landwehr battalion has moved through those woods to provide the connectivity between its right and left flank of that brigade, and then the 3rd Landwehr battalion has charged into the French column here. The other 2 or 3 battalions of more regular Prussian troops are continuing to deploy forwards again. The French have taken the opportunity of the vacated positions to move up towards the bunker, so 1 battalion still pushing the advantage and trying to get to that bunker. Let's do our charges. See how the Prussian charges go in turn 6. Okay, so rolling for this Prussian assault. Let's see how we do. We get a 6 for the Prussians and a 7 for the French. The 7 do get a reroll at -1 because they have an unformed battalion in support, so we will have a go at that too. Gets a 4, that goes to -1, so that becomes a 3. So the French are on 7 and the Prussians are on 6. Let's apply the modifiers and see the result. Okay, so the French get the advantage of being regulars against militia, but they are unformed and they have taken 4 casualties. So actually the Prussians win that by 1 and the Prussians melee with Elan and charge home. Okay, so I should have mentioned in the other column we did get a defensive volley which caused no casualties on the attacking Landwehr. Okay, similarly a defensive volley from the French over here. They roll a 9, that's not bad. It will be an inferior, no it won't be an inferior volley because they're unformed, but it will be half effect. So a 9 is 3 casualties in a discipline test. That goes down to 1 casualty on the Prussians. They do have to take a discipline test. And they roll a 5, so they go unformed. So that won't help their charge. Okay, so this will be a +3 to the French. Both have got their generals attached. But unfortunately that unformed result is quite a negative modifier for the attacking Landwehr. Let's see how they do. Alright, not a great roll for the French. They only roll 4. And the Prussians have rolled a 5. But that becomes a 2, so the French have won by 2. So at 0 to -2, the attacker stops and does a volley. Alright, so that'll be 3 dice for the Landwehr, and they cause 3 casualties, I think, on the French. Okay, so we will fire our French artillery battery down here. This will open fire up at the formations on the hill, going at the, or trying to have a go at the musketeers on the hill. This will be at long range. See how they do. They get a 7. That'll be 1 casualty, I believe, at long range. Long range, 7, half a casualty. So I need a 4, 5 or 6 to convert it. That is 1 casualty against the Prussians. And then the Prussian artillery will return fire. And I think it'll have a shot at effective range against this battalion that is trying to assault up onto the hill. Indeed, the Prussians are firing at effective range, so let's see how we do. A 9, that's a pretty good shot. Effective range is 2 casualties in a discipline test against that attacking French column. Let's see how they do. They roll a 9. They're fine, but we'll mark up the casualties. That will be the end of turn 6. Of course, how could I forget? We have the melee in turn 6. Let's do the melee down here. This is Charlie's approaching grenadier status militia battalion going into the French again. Okay, so the Prussians will get 6 dice for meleeing with Elan. The French get 4. They lose 1 for being unformed, they lose 1 for 4 casualties. They do gain 1 for an extra morale status. Let's see how we do in this combat. Well, it looks like the Prussians have won. 2 casualties for the French, but 4 casualties caused by the Prussians. Okay, we'll mark those up and see what the result is. Alright, let's roll for initiative. Charlie's back. Roll for ADCs in turn 7. French get 2,
7.
Prussians get 2. Alright, let's deploy our ADCs and activate our brigades. Okay, so we've both got 2 active brigades. Let's roll for initiative. You get 7, French get 5, Prussians have initiative in turn 7.
So you know obviously that they land there.
Okay, so Charlie's charged again with his Landwehr.
How many casualties do I have?
I've got 4 casualties, you've got 3, so no penalty on yours, Charlie. And charge results. I get +1, but I am unformed, so that's -2, and I've got 4 casualties, so I'm on -3, and you're on -1.
No, I get +2 because I've won against you so many times.
Yeah, you might think so. Okay, I get 8,
I
You
got
get
7.
7.
I win.
You
'cause
win by 2. You
loses.
melee with a land.
That's actually.
That's pretty good.
That's good for me.
Alright, so Charlie charged his landwehr forward and cleared the French skirmishers away. They failed their discipline test, so they've lost a base. I then countercharged and charged into Charlie's column. So I assume he gets a defensive volley, even though he was charging in the same turn, because
But it wasn't. It was
it's in a
skirmishes.
separate phase and it was skirmishes, yeah. So we'll do that. So that's an inferior volley. What did you roll, Charlie?
I rolled a 6.
A 6, so that's 1 casualty on me. But it's at close range, so you get a combat dice too. No, so that's 1 casualty on the French. Alright, let's do the charge results. Okay, so Charlie's deployed his brigadier into this combat, so that will take his morale value equal to the French. So it'll be a straight roll off, no one's got any supports, no one's unformed. Let's see how we do. The French get a 3.
I got a
8. With no adjustments, Charlie wins by 5. So the attacker attacker retires and takes 1 casualty. That was my charge, so the French have to retire. Alright, so Charlie's doing his defensive volley. What did he get? He got 8. So an inferior volley with 8 is 2 casualties. So that will impact the French charge.
You're minus
as they've
2.
gone into the land there.
You're minus 3 now because you're on 8 casualties minus 2. I took 2 casualties. You took 2 casualties in the charge.
Yeah.
Minus 1. 3 casualties. I get, I think, minus 2.
We'll just check it, but I think you're right. I think the French are on minus 3 and the Prussians are on minus 2, but we'll just check. Okay, so we're both on minus 2. Let's see this charge result. French get an 8. French win by 6. Now that is good. That will be victory on a plus 6. Defender routes, takes 1d6 casualties. Take 1d6 casualties, Charlie?
Right.
No, you only take 1, and we'll do your route move. Alright, so the French are going for it. They've got to try and take the hill. Their attack on the left is really faltering. So having driven off the land there, they got a charge on result, and they have charged into the Prussians. Unfortunately for them, this particular Prussian battalion is Charlie's veterans.
And it's also fresh. It's not got any
And it's
casualties.
also fresh. So it'll get an extra combat dice for firing at close range.
I'll get a blue one there.
Get a blue one for that. And then we will be doing a superior volley here, Charlie. Off you go. Let's see what you do.
I got 8.
An 8, that's not bad. So that's 3 casualties in a discipline test.
That's it.
And do you get anything on your combat dice?
No.
Alright.
Draw an 11.
How many casualties are they on now?
11.
Oh my gosh. That's not great.
So if you lose and take a casualty, they have a full.
they'll have to have a full.
I told you that was a bad idea.
Yeah, probably was, but we've got to take that bunker,
Okay.
and there are our orders. Let's roll the charge results then, Charlie. So the French will be on minus quite
If
a
you
lot.
did actually use 12 and there's only 12 guys left, there'd be one guy fighting.
get a
the whole
7?
battalion. I got a
There we
12.
Oh my gosh, this is the Prussians' day.
Isn't it?
Alright, so we now need to do a destiny result for Charlie. A falter, I will be faltering. I've got to take a risk to general test because I've automatically suffered 1 more casualty. I take 1d6 casualties because I've lost this charge. I've been thrown back, which causes that brake to disperse. Okay, Charlie, let's see what your destiny result is.
Imagine if you fail your general, he dies, and if I get the howitzer shell, your next general will die straight after.
Let's see what you get, Charlie.
God,
You get a 6. You recover 1 casualty or melee with a land?
No.
Well, I don't think you need that. Let's do the risk to my general test. It's a 9. He is actually fine, but that brigade disperses and he will be on a falter. Okay, so Charlie's opening fire on the remaining French battalion on the hill. Let's have a go with his artillery battery first, Charlie. So this is at close range.
Yep.
See what you do.
8.
Pretty good. You get an 8 at close range. That is 3 casualties in a discipline test.
5, they get -1.
They are fine. And then
Volley.
you get a standard volley, because that is a standard infantry battalion.
Yep.
A 9, another good result. That is 3 more casualties in a discipline test.
They run 8 -2.
Okay. And we roll a double 1, so that's a retreat with...
That's 0. 0.
Yeah, it's 0 indeed. It
And that's
is
a
0.
falter.
3 or less is retreat and lose 2 more casualties.
2, they're on 10.
Alright, they're not in a great state.
Should I put
Okay, so Charlie's moved his Jaegers forward to
3 dice?
put some pressure on my artillery battery. 3 dice, yes, indeed. Or you could fire them at that column,
But it doesn't do it. It wouldn't.
one more casualty then on my artillery battery. Down here, I've got my skirmishers to fire
you
back
can't
at
even
you.
fire two. You have to fire at them or the back of
Yeah.
the troops.
Yeah, I'm going to fire my skirmishers at you. Doesn't do anything. I'm going to fire my artillery at your skirmishers at close range. 7, I don't think that'll do very much. That'll be a 5, won't it, at close range, which is 1 casualty on the skirmishers.
This goes up to 18. Are you serious?
All right, so that's firing done. We've just got hand-to-hand combat down here as this Landwehr continues its rampage through the French left flank. Right, let's roll for this combat, see if the Prussians can pull it off. French get 2 casualties.
Prussians get 3.
Prussians get 3. Prussians win the combat again. Okay, that's turn 8 and we're calling it for the Prussians. Right, so we completed the ADCs and activation rolls. Both the French and the Prussians got rally results on their faltering brigades, but that does mean that any routing units disappear off the board. So the right-hand French brigade, which was in operation in advance of this French artillery battery, has now completely dispersed. The 2nd Battalion was routing, and the falter result means that was not recoverable. So that brigade is now a broken brigade, and the artillery will start falling back. The Prussians clearly firmly hold the hill. The regulars are still in possession of the siege works. That unit of Landwehr there will now also disperse as they got a rally result, but being a routing unit they can't come back. But the rest of the Landwehr brigade has done astoundingly well, pushing the French all the way back to the baseline. All of these French units are unformed. This one's taken 7, that one's taken 8, the other one has only taken 2 casualties. But the Landwehr have done tremendously for Charlie. You must be really pleased by their performance this game. And a great victory for the Prussians. It's been really nice playing another quite small game here with General Brigade. It's a great set of rules for large battles, and we often do those, but it's also not actually that bad for almost skirmish level games. Pretty much fighting something close to 2 very small brigades aside here. And me and Charlie have had a tremendous time, and we've got this game knocked out, in just about an hour and a half, haven't we, Charlie?
Yeah.
Yeah, so good fun. Please let us know your comments. Do subscribe to the channel. Everything really helps, encourages us to do more.
And also, you could in the comment section say any battles you want us to play, and we might be able to.
Yeah, in the future. Think about battles between the Allies and the French, or indeed the Prussians and the French. We've got 1 or 2 more games in this 1813 campaign in mind, so they'll come up in the next couple of weeks. But we're always looking for future inspiration. So look forward to seeing your comments and see you all next time. Cheers.